Hello and good day. Alright, so today we're going to talk about models and some of the modeling options that are available to the user should they choose to do so. You've all seen what the ISS model looks like. Well, let's change that up a little bit. Alright, so what we do is right click and unhide and then double click on models. And you'll see there is a list of available models here. Alright, I have just created 15 pull downs. Maybe in the future I'll build more, but for the time being, that's what I'm using. So for the ISS, there is a column representing the ISS. Anything that the workbook recognizes with the words ISS and then Zarya will match up to what's in the workbook in Celestrak and the satellite name, as you can see right here. So we're going to just close this one up. I'm just going to type empty. As you can see here, there's no value for the ISS. Let's make the ISS look like the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. So we're going to type in the same thing, ISS Zarya. Go back to the Satellites tab, and I'm going to create a single KML. Alright, now that it's complete, let's go to Google Earth, right click and revert, and it will now zoom in to our new Millennium Falcon looking ISS. And there you go. So that's how you use the Models tab to determine what models are available to you. I want to highlight that, as you can see, there is a column here. Let's type ISS Zarya back in, and now it refers to the information that is here. You type in the model name, the folder if there are additional files within it. And I'll show you where those are located. The relative scale just scales up or down the model. There is also an option to change the model scale on the Satellites tab, and that is a default for all models, but for each additional model you have an option to change their relative scale. Therefore, the Hubble in this case is a relative scale of 3, and the ISS is only a relative scale of 1. If I made it a 2, it would double the size, etc. If I go to the desktop where you have probably saved your satellites file, you'll see that there is a models folder. And in that models folder, there are all the models that have been built for radar cones, ground cones, all of those. If we double click in the ISS folder, which corresponds to the ISS folder here, you'll see that all of the file names are in that folder. And for somebody to create that, all you have to do is go to an empty spot, type in the name of the DAE file that you've exported from a program such as Trimble SketchUp, type in the folder name, type in the relative scale, and type in each of the names of those files that are in the folder, and then you can create your own files. The main file for the ISS is saved right here under iss.dae, which you can see is the same as right there. It makes it relatively simple. Now we're going to do one additional example so that I can show you what I'm talking about. Additionally, we have a radar dish that we can use as a model as well. So let's go to mid. We're going to use ground site model. We'll check that. And I have already preset all GPS satellites to look like the Death Star. What it does is it doesn't necessarily recognize the entire name, though you could assign GPS block 2A-10 PRN32 to the Death Star. But in this case, it recognizes just GPS. Anything with GPS in it at the first 3 digits, it will then create it as a model. So let's go to constellation, and it'll then create the entire GPS constellation. And now that that's complete, let's go to the constellation KML we just completed. And if we zoom out, let's go to any satellite, and now you can see that our entire GPS constellation looks like the Death Star, also from Star Wars. I do want to highlight, if we go back to the ground site, remember we had a model of a ground site in there. Let's zoom in. We're going to turn off the GPS satellites so that we can zoom in on our model, and there we go. There is a 3D radar model on the ground site, and you can change that to any respective model that you find from Trimble SketchUp or whatever. There are thousands of available models. I've just given you the means to look for those and bring in your own models into the workbook. And so for now, that completes this lesson of the Orbital Dynamics Calculation spreadsheet. Please tune back for further episodes. Thank you.